Hey everybody, welcome back to our Tacos Feel Good Friday virtual mode videos here. I'm glad to be with you again. Thank you for tuning in. And today's message is going to be a short little one from the Bible. So we're going to dive right in and we're going to talk about a psalm verse. So here we go. So today, before we jump right in with our Bible verse, I'm going to ask you a few questions, and it's going to be about identification and name. So the first question is, what do you think an identity is? What can you classify as an identity? And then the second question is, what are some groups that you identify with? And then the third and final question right now is going to be, what do you think the importance of a name is? So now that you've had time to kind of sort through those questions about name and identification, I'm going to read the psalm verse that we have for today, and it is from Psalm 8, verse 9. And this is the last verse of this particular psalm. So it's kind of encompassing what this entire psalm is about. And it goes simply as this: God, brilliant Lord, your name echoes around the world. And that is the verse for today. That's what we're going to be talking about. I'll say it again. It is God, brilliant Lord, your name echoes around the world. So, when we're thinking about this verse and how it's talking about God's name echoing throughout the world, there's one word in there. It's the word name, God's name. We all have an identification. We all have a name. It's the first thing that you talk about when you meet someone. You ask, who are you? And you give them their name. It's the way we identify as an individual. It's the way that we, it's important to us being human. It's important to us identifying as being a single person. And this name can be from anything. You can have names that are structured around your upbringing, structured around your hometown, structured around like honor. We identify as Wisconsinites, or we identify as where we went to high school. I went to high school in Peshtigo. I was a Bulldog. Some of you are Chargers. Some of you will be Chargers. It's all these things that culminate into a name, which is an identification. And today's verse is talking about the Lord's name. And if you choose to follow Christ, and if you choose to follow Jesus and want to follow God, you identify as a Christian. And so there's a significance and importance to that name, being that we are followers of Jesus and we follow the way of Jesus. And I want you to think about some of the ways in which you choose to follow Jesus. So think about that right now. Just kind of ponder, how are you being a Christian? That'll be the question. What ways do you identify as a Christian? So now that you've kind of thought about that, I really want to bring today's video to a head on one thing that's kind of been on the top of my brain. It's kind of been the one thing that I've been thinking about through all this time of shutdown, this time of need in our world for something that we want to change, something that is on social justice issues, something that is on what our family members might be experiencing. And it's this talk about spreading God's name around the world. And it's something that we might tend to do through prayer. I think a lot of us in this time of great hurt and great challenge is that we live in a world where a lot of us are praying. And that's a good thing. And a lot of us are praying about things like this. We pray to God and we ask God to come and help us for something. We ask God to take over for something. And I don't want to stir away from that being that's a bad thing. It's always a good thing to ask God for help. After all, this is something that we are taught, and this is something that is a good thing, to have a relationship with God and to connect with God. But I want to talk about one way that I interpret my Christianity and the way I believe Christ works in this world. And that is to talk about how God's name echoes throughout the entire world. And the only way we can do that is if we as people that identify as Christians act upon our faith. See, it's really important to have a relationship with God and to remember that God is helping us and to ask God for things. But it's also important to remember that in times of need where we see that we are struggling or that others are struggling, and we pray to God and we ask God for help, or we ask God for help in any other kind of form, that God created us to be instruments and help people in the world, and that we might be the simple answer instead of asking for God to bring something, to bring help. You might be the help. Because the way I see it is that as a follower of Jesus, Jesus came into this world and he did extraordinary things. He did crazy things, and he created the name of Christianity through those radical changes. He helped the poor. He helped the lepers. He helped all these people, and it wasn't something that was looked upon as being a great thing for some people. But Jesus went ahead and stepped forward and did these things. He didn't necessarily ask for God to help him. He knew that he had a mission and he set out to do it. And as a Christ follower, I think some of what we need to do is to remember that God created us to be part of the solution. I remember now that I have watched the Netflix series of Zac Efron and Down to Earth, there's an episode where they talk about the solution to the problem might be the problem. And so I think not viewing us as a problem, but thinking of us as being part of the solution is an important part. So that is my call to action on this Feel Good Friday, talking about God's brilliant name echoing throughout the world. And the only way that can happen is if we act upon it and if we do something. It's not bad to ask God for help, but God might just be saying, you are the help. So I hope you enjoyed talking through that one verse, talking about how Christians can have an identity that calls upon action, and that you could do something positive in this world today and move it forward for months to come and years to come. And you might help make a huge, significant mark in what appears to be a very broken world right now. So I hope you take that with you today and use it to your advantage to have a Friday that you can feel good about and feel great about and move forward in this world, knowing that you can be part of the solution and be part of the action and help this world turn around. Continue to tune into what we got going on. We might have some really fun things coming up in August here. We might be doing some more things with Hephatha, as we might be helping them with packages for their Sunday school. I will have more information for you on that. But we will get going and we will have fun. And I will see you guys on Monday for some more motivation and back here on Friday for some more Feel Good Friday videos. So have a good one, everybody.